When you're at home, you have just so much access to stuff, right? And it can be really easy to walk down and just grab whatever from the kitchen, from the pantry, from the freezer or whatever. And in that moment, you think that, you're going to eat and you're going to forget about what's going on. Or in that moment, you feel like it's going to make you feel better. Or you feel like it's going to take your mind off of something. But the reality is that moment is going to pass. And after that, then what? What's good, you guys? Britt Inez here with another dose of Body Go Realness. At the time I'm shooting this video, we are currently practicing social distancing. We're kind of all like self-isolating so that we can stay safe, stay healthy while this global pandemic is going around. And with that, I know there's a lot of people at home. And when you're at home, you have a lot more access to food, snacks, and everything. And this might be a time that's causing you to want to snack, graze, eat a little bit more than what you normally would. Now, for those of you guys who don't know me, I have struggled with my weight for a very long time. I've had a history with emotional eating, with really just eating out of like anxiety or eating out of just like fear or depression or boredom or loneliness. Any reason you can think of to eat, I have done it. And that's why I'm able to kind of share these tips with you today, because these are things that I've used to help get me over the hump and that I've given my clients to use too. When you're at home, you have just so much access to stuff, right? And it can be really easy to walk down and just grab whatever from the kitchen, from the pantry, from the freezer or whatever. And in that moment, you think that, you're going to eat and you're going to forget about what's going on. Or in that moment, you feel like it's going to make you feel better. Or you feel like it's going to take your mind off of something. But the reality is that moment is going to pass. And after that, then what? If that's been you, then today I'm going to be sharing with you guys tips that you can use to help stop you in your tracks of emotional eating so that you can stay consistent. Because here's the thing, you could do all the home workouts in the world. None of that is going to make a difference if you are not staying on top of your eating, right? And it all starts with your mindset. There's always a reason why you're eating. Right? You might be eating out of, and kind of let me know in the comments below, you might be eating out of fear, you might be eating out of depression, you might be eating out of anxiety, you might be eating because your finances aren't looking right, you might not have the relationship you want to have in your life, or you just might not be happy with yourself in general, right? So there's always a reason as to why you're wanting to eat, why you're having the emotion that you want to eat anyway. And the first step is to really understanding like what that is for you. So kind of just like let me know for you like what that's been below. Like I said, I've eaten for a number of reasons, but until you can get clear on what that emotion is that you're trying to deal with, none of these other tips I'm going to share with you today is going to work. And then the second thing is this: once you realize like what you're trying to eat to escape, you got to understand what those triggers are, right? So do you find yourself like wanting to snack after maybe you scrolled on Instagram and you saw someone who might have the lifestyle that you want or something that you want, and it reminds you that you don't have it, you start feeling bad about yourself, so you go to eat to feel better, right? Or is it that you find you get into an argument with your significant other or your partner, and that causes you to want to be like, you know what, I'm just going to zone out and just do something for me, and I'm just going to eat to kind of like take care of that, right? So whatever those triggers are for you, and it's different for all of us, it might be a combination of stuff. But once you can kind of understand those triggers, you're going to be able to kind of catch yourself a little bit better, because you're going to know, oh, okay, I know when I do X, I want to eat, right? And it's that thing that has to happen. It's that step you have to take before you eat so that you can stop eating, right? Because the whole reason why you've been eating to begin with is because it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction. But we're going to work on getting to like what happens before you actually act so that you can stop yourself from eating in the process. And then once you have all that, the third thing to do is this. I want you to spend some time and really come up with a list of like 10 things that you can do other than eating, okay? So this might be a little challenging. It's okay if you can't come up with 10, but I normally shoot for 10 because you might end up getting 7 or like a good 6 on there. But these things can be anything. From like organizing something, it can be listening to music, it can be taking a shower, it can be going to do some cardio. You want these things to be all like really realistic things that you would actually do, right? Don't write down on there on this list some stuff that you know damn well you are not going to want to do, because that's just not who you are, right? The whole point of this is to give you different things that you can do to distract you from that feeling of wanting to eat. So that way you have other things that you can kind of turn to. And when you find yourself like being triggered, right, by what happened, instead of eating, you can use this list of like 10 things to turn to so that you can do something to distract you. Because normally what I've found is if you give yourself like 15 minutes just to kind of like take a break from whatever it is that you were doing, right, or to distract yourself from what you were doing, you're less likely to still want to give in after that, right? I mean, especially if you remove yourself from the kitchen. That should be like number one default thing, right? Get out of the kitchen, get out of where you have easy access to food. If you live somewhere and you have multiple levels, go on another level where the kitchen is not, or go into another room where you're away from stuff. Because a lot of times people don't realize, like people who struggle with emotional eating and binge eating, it's almost like something in your head like kind of like takes over. And in that moment, you aren't really thinking, you're just kind of going on autopilot, right? And you're eating and eating and eating and eating. So if you can remove yourself from that space and then kind of look to say, okay, well, what can I do instead? You'll be far better equipped to not give in and look up and eat an entire thing of an entire sleeve of Oreos, or a pint of Ben & Jerry's, or a Kit Kat bar, or a bag of chips, or whatever it may be for you, right? But you got to get yourself out of that environment, and then you got to turn to that other list of things so that you can have other things that you can kind of do. And the fourth thing, I've talked about this before in a YouTube video on staying consistent with your goals, is reminding yourself of your why. Why did you even start this journey to begin with? You clearly started this journey of wanting to better yourself. I don't care what your goals are. Because you wanted to achieve something. There was something in you that you wanted to accomplish, right? Why did you want to do that? A lot of times when we're being called to like eat emotionally, we're forgetting a lot of things in us, right? And one of the things that we're forgetting is our goals, but two, we're forgetting about our why. So you already know, if you've been eating, let's just say you've been eating some ice cream, and you look at a commercial that comes on TV and it's showing you someone working out, that's probably not going to motivate you to get up, right? So I don't want you to tell yourself your why is you just want to be more fit and healthy, right? It has to be something way deeper than that. Your why has to be something really internal to you. It has to be something way deeper than just wanting to look a certain way, or just wearing a certain dress size or a certain jean size. And whatever that why may be for you, it might be you want to have more energy to be able to play with your kids a little bit longer. You might want to just feel more confident, to feel better about yourself when you're naked by yourself, with your partner. You want to think about those things, right? And you want to remind yourself of your why, because your why is stronger than anything temporarily that you can kind of indulge in, right? And once you realize that and you remember that, then it can help stop you when you're feeling like, okay, you know what? I just want to say to hell with it and go eat whatever. Let me know in the comments if you've done this exercise before, you have your why, or maybe you never really thought to kind of come up with one, or if you feel like your why isn't strong enough, kind of like let me know in the comments so I kind of know where you guys are with that. But that has been one of the biggest things that has kind of kept me focused. And for me, like normally I like to look at different forms of my why. So I'll look at my journal, right? I have affirmations that I wrote out to support my goals, to support my fitness journey over the 10 plus years I've been doing this. Another thing that I like to do is I'll look at my progress pics, right? Because that will really like show me a visual reminder, like, okay, put down the donuts, let's get back on it, because you don't want to get back to that. So there's different forms and ways that you can remind yourself of your why, and different things work differently for different people. I've even had clients like take their goal pic and like put it somewhere prominently in the kitchen. Like you might place your pics on your refrigerator or your bathroom mirror. I know for me, for a long time, I had my bikini hanging in the kitchen because I knew I wanted to feel a certain way when I got into it. And the things I was doing in the kitchen was stopping me from getting to that, right? So when you really think about putting all these things together, it really comes down to stopping yourself before it becomes a habit and before it happens, and turning to all these tools here that you've seen me talk about today. So definitely like this video if you found a lot of use in what I kind of share with you today. Like I said, these are things that I've been using for many years. I've given my clients to use too, to be successful so they can stay consistent and focus on your goals. Don't forget to subscribe while you are here, and I will see you guys all in the next video.